Eric Perner. I'm owner-operator of the Double P Ranch and then also CEO of Rep Provisions, of which the Double P Ranch is part of that supply chain. Our goal for all our ranching partners is that they be certified regenerative. And so Rep is that's what we represent, so it's kind of short for regenerative proteins.
Telling the Rep story has been both challenging and rewarding. Regenerative in itself is a new term, so there's a lot of education that goes on in informing the consumer of what is regenerative agriculture and why should they care and why do they need it and how does it affect their food. And when we use the term regenerative, we're actually talking about the soil health and putting more nutrients into the soil than we're taking from it. One of the key and guiding principles of REP is leaving the land base better for the future generations than how we received it ourselves.
If we just go back a couple hundred years, what roamed North America were bison in huge numbers. And they typically, stayed together in fairly tight bunches because they were always under the threat of predators. But one thing that they did naturally, because of that threat of predators and that tight bunching, is they were always moving to fresh grass. And so that created the proper amount of recovery for those native perennial grasses to recover, develop that deep root structure while they provided the dung and the urine, the fertilizer, and then moved on and allowed that proper recovery. So that's all we're trying to do with our cattle, is mimic that natural process. One thing we did to promote more warm season native perennial grasses is time our grazing. And what we did this year is we came in just before spring, grazed the cattle one time and kind of opened up that canopy. And that really you can see a lot of warm seasons starting to come on now.
Well, yeah, it's nice to see some of these wildflowers and legumes coming up here, Eric.
As long as you're planning your grazing and you're putting some thought behind it, I've seen the land flourish and biodiversity flourish.
Eric's vision with Rep Provisions and Double P Ranch very closely aligned with what the Audubon Conservation Ranching program's trying to achieve. He has the knack for not only the grazing style, but he also is very, very interested in wildlife and making sure that the whole ecological system is functioning as one.
I've always been passionate about the native birds, and one of the main species that I loved was bobwhite quail. And as a kid, we had plenty of bobwhite quail. There were plenty of opportunities for hunters to hunt bobwhite quail and work their dogs. And what I've noticed over the years is that has been on a straight decline. And it's almost hard to find anywhere in this part of the state. And so to me, this is one of the flashing red lights that tells humanity, this species, that something's not right, that we're doing something wrong, that if we're gonna lose this species of bird, that's a problem. And so if it's happening with that species, it's happening with others. And I just find that incredibly tragic.
You can't really have regenerative without the Audubon and the birds part. You can't just remove a species from the ecosystem and expect everything to function properly. Now, getting consumers excited about dirt or soil sometimes can be a little difficult, but like sharing, a love and passion for birds and ecosystems, a lot of people can get behind that.
So I think I'm extremely passionate that if we can conserve bird habitat by doing what I'm doing and creating more regenerative ranches, that's going to bring back not only those different species, but it's also going to build soil health at the same time. I know I'm making a positive impact on the world, and I know I'm leaving something better for the next generation. So that makes me feel really good.